What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new, as I drop daily gaming videos and I'll have up-to-date coverage of all things E3 when it comes to edited videos and also live streams, restreaming the events, and going over your thoughts and opinions on all of the big shows from the companies, which we will get into a little bit more in this video. So let's go ahead and start off first here with this big Nintendo Switch milestone that is kind of flying underneath the radar, but I'll give you guys the stats and the details that kind of show that this is a pretty impressive thing that Nintendo's accomplished in Japan. So the week's past Famitsu sales have been revealed. This is from May 24th 2021 through May 30th, 2021. And we have the typical suspects in the top 10. There's Nintendo games, there's a few PlayStation games in there. Biomutant actually got into the top 10, and there was some other stuff as well. Room Factory still doing good, Ring Fit Adventure, Monster Hunter Rise, Miitopia is the #1 game in Japan, which is interesting as well. That game's over 100,000 units, not including digital sales at all. So pretty typical when it comes to these sales numbers in Japan. But the big information, or the big news that came out from this, is that the Nintendo Switch has officially crossed 20 million units sold lifetime to date in Japan, which is just absolutely incredible, because while the Nintendo Switch is a hybrid device, and yes, there is a portable only Switch, most of the units sold in Japan are of the Nintendo Switch base version, which comes with the dock to where you can play it as a home console hooked up to your TV. So it's very impressive to see anything that is even resembling a home console cross these number of sales. Now, in reference, there's only a few systems that have ever done this in Japan, and I think the PlayStation 2, from what I remember, is the only home console that has ever crossed the 20 million unit mark in Japan. Everything else has been portables, like the Nintendo 3DS or the DS, I think Game Boy, stuff like that. I think maybe even GB, I'm not 100% sure on that one, but yeah, it's all been portable type of systems. And of course, the almighty PlayStation 2, the best-selling system of all time, gaming system of all time. So to see the Nintendo Switch get into that category up there with those systems, and it's still going, we still have more years left on the Switch's life. That is just something that I don't think many people even predicted before the Switch launched, or even in the first year of the Switch or so. I don't think people thought that it'd be able to reach this type of height. So exactly how did it get there, and what's next for the system when it comes down to this, and what does this mean going forward? Well, of course it does mean more third-party support from Japanese developers. We're seeing Square Enix, we're seeing Bandai Namco here and there a little bit kind of coming around. We're seeing Falcom, we're seeing a lot of these traditional Japanese developers actually start to put out more stuff on the Switch system than what you saw early in its life, or what you saw on the Wii U, and even to some degree with the Nintendo 3DS. It looks like the Switch is getting far more support than even what that system saw, and that system was a great seller in Japan. So that's one really good thing. But also the next thing here, it shows that this hybrid format is the way to go when it comes to the future. Nintendo can solidly say, hey, we have this hybrid format, we have this style that sells in Japan, that sells overseas, and we can go forward with making a better Switch, go forward with making and evolving what the Switch is. So I do feel that Nintendo will take that, because the gimmick with it, it works worldwide, no matter where you are. Now here in the West, some people might not be as, I would say, expressive about taking their systems out of their homes and all that, and you don't hear about it as much, but I do feel that it's something that people do quite a bit, even if it's not taking it out of their homes, but even within their homes, and just saying, hey, I'm going to play off the TV, I'm going to lie down in bed and play, or I'm just going to play comfortably on the couch, or if there's like a basketball game on TV, or if there is a football game, they'll play the Nintendo Switch and watch, or wrestling, or whatever the case is. They'll buy the accessories, the attachments, like with the Pro Controller and stuff like that. So I do feel that this format, in terms of what Nintendo's doing and what they're going with the hardware, is only going to get better and better. So these sales have solidified that. These sales have pretty much said that, hey, they're going to continue on, in my opinion, with this, because even with the Wii, right? You looked at the Wii in Japan, that didn't sell over 13 million units, and that's Nintendo's best-selling home console of all time at this point. Obviously, the Switch is probably going to pass it up by the end of the year or early next year, but yeah, at this time, it is the best-selling home console that Nintendo's ever produced, and that didn't even cross 14 million units in Japan. I think it was around like 12 to 13. So the fact that the Nintendo Switch is kind of smoking the Wii kind of tells you like, wait a minute, it's not just a fad. It's not just something that we can do for this time. We can actually go forward with it because we are seeing these strong sales in all regions, and the gimmick of portability sells itself. It's like a cell phone, or it's like anything that's become portable that used to not be portable, like a computer or a laptop or something like that. So it makes sense to me, and it's pretty cool to see that. Not as many sites reporting on it as much, but once again, I expected that considering that we're getting close to E3 and people are just excited for games and other things. But it is a huge milestone, and it shows that Nintendo made the right call with the Switch, and we should see some pretty cool stuff coming up here at E3 when it comes to various different Nintendo games and also third-party developers as well, with the renewed confidence in what the Switch is doing in Japan and of course worldwide sales. So what do you guys think about this huge milestone that Nintendo has accomplished here with the Switch system? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, we have a little bit of a rough E3 2021 June checklist that is going down. Shout outs to, I think her name is Sania. I might have said that wrong, but either way, she made this checklist on Twitter, and it's something that I had to talk about. I'll have a link in the description below for her Twitter page, but I wanted to go through it because I talked about this, how I'm going to have pretty much wire-to-wire coverage when it comes to E3. Now, I might not stream every single game show here because there are some corny ones that I just don't feel like streaming, but all of the big game shows I definitely will stream, and I'm going to go over my most hyped events for this, so this should be a good segment here, guys. So let's start off here. Let's take a look at this E3 June 2021 checklist. This nice little font and controllers and all that. Very nice done by her here. On top of that, the official E3 channels, when it comes to their Twitter page and everything, release the info as well. So this is something that's official. This is something that they've actually put out there. You can go on the official E3 page as well. They're starting to line up when the shows are happening and everything, so the hype is starting to build, the anticipation is starting to build, and I think that it's going to be pretty cool to see everything that's going on here. All right, now starting off on June 10th, that's Thursday, we have the Summer Games Fest at 11 a.m. PT/2 p.m. ET. Next up, Friday, June 11th, which begins on June 7th technically, is the Netflix Geek Week, 9 a.m. PT/12 p.m. ET, and the IGN Expo from 1 p.m. PT to 4 p.m. ET. Now Saturday, June 12th, we have Guerrilla Collective at 8 a.m. PT/11 a.m. Eastern Time, Wholesome Direct at 10 a.m. PT/1 p.m. ET, and the Ubisoft Forward at 12 p.m. PT/3 p.m. ET. Might want to look forward to that one because maybe Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2, maybe that's there, Mario plus Rabbids 2. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping that happens. Next up, we also have Gearbox and Digital Devolver, which those times aren't quite filled out yet, but they will be Saturday, June 12th. Next up, Sunday, June 13th, 10 a.m. PT/1 p.m. ET. Then you have Square Enix, which I'm very excited about, at 12:15 p.m. PT/3:15 p.m. ET. Next up is the PC Gaming Show. We still need to get the date for that. After that, we have the Future Games Show at 4 p.m. PT/7 p.m. ET, and then the Warner Bros. Games Show as well. Now, Monday, June 14th, things get a little bit more crazy here, guys. Take-Two, Capcom, Mythical Games, Freedom Games, and Razer all have events, so we'll see about the times then and there. And then on Tuesday, June 15th, this is the big show. This is when people are going to have their mind blown or be very upset when it comes down to it, and that is Nintendo Direct. Nintendo and the Treehouse Live, 9 a.m. PT/12 p.m. ET, and then Bandai Namco, Eureka, if I said that name, was it Eureka? Either way, GameSpot, and the E3 Awards Show. And then Wednesday, June 16th, to cap it all off, ends on June 22nd, technically, the Steam Next Fest at 10 a.m. PT/1 p.m. ET. So there are a lot of shows. Now, what am I hyped for? Well, I think you guys can guess, but if you're new to the channel, I'm big on Japanese RPGs. You guys know that. I do like Xbox. I do have an Xbox system. If Sony was here, I like that too. So, I mean, it's all good. But what I'm most hyped to cover, obviously the Nintendo Direct, but I want to talk about a couple of the ones that I'm most hyped to cover before the Nintendo Direct, or at least in terms of my anticipation levels. Bandai Namco, that's something that I want to see. What are they working on? What are the next games? What's going on? They have Tales of Arise that's coming out in September. They have Scarlet Nexus that's coming out end of June. So they've got some pretty good games. So what else are they working on? Definitely want to see what's going down with Bandai Namco. And then, of course, Square Enix. Yes, on Sundays, Square Enix, they've had some good shows. Before we got COVID hit last year, the 2019 show from Square Enix was absolutely phenomenal. They had Final Fantasy VII Remake, they had Trials of Mana, they had all sorts of cool games that they announced, from the smaller retro games all the way up to the biggest games as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Square Enix has. Now, Square Enix's show will be a 40-minute long showcase and will feature exciting news from across the globe, including the world premiere of a new game from Eidos Montreal, an exciting update on Babylon's Fall, and I guess the Eidos Montreal game, that is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy game, according to Jason Schreier on Twitter and an article that he linked. And then we also have, of course, Babylon's Fall. That is a Platinum Games developed action RPG, which I'm very excited to see what's going on with that game, because it's been a while since our last update. So very good to hear about Babylon's Fall, getting that. Next up, details on the Marvel's Avengers expansion Black Panther War for Wakanda, and updates on upcoming in-game events. I'm not sure if that game can be saved, but it's going to be cool to see what they can do with Black Panther. And then last but definitely not least, a deep dive on Life is Strange True Colors and a first look at Life is Strange Remastered Collection. And also, according to the Square Enix blog post, its lineup is, quote, mostly under wraps for now, and the list above is tantalizingly vague. So there is going to be more surprises. There's going to be more stuff going up. There's going to be more things happening when it comes to Square Enix. So yeah, maybe we can get some classic revivals. Is this the year that Chrono Trigger comes back? Is this the year that we finally see it? Is this the year that we get a bit more from them? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Project Triangle Strategy, maybe they'll be at Nintendo's event, or maybe they'll show more, maybe they'll have more here. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that, because what they showed here doesn't fill out 40 minutes unless they spend a lot of time on some of these games. So I'm very excited to see what's mostly under wraps and the tantalizingly vagueness of this list. So great stuff from Square Enix, nice little tease. Can't wait till June 13th, 12:15 p.m. PT / 8:15 p.m. BST. So that's going to be 3:15 p.m. ET as well. So I will be streaming the show, so look out for that. And all of the big shows here, guys, I will be streaming them when it comes to like Square Enix, Bandai Namco. I'll be streaming those. And then, of course, Nintendo's event, which I'm very excited about that. I actually went over 5 of my predictions that I had in my previous video. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll have a link to it at the end of this video, or you can check out the main page. It'll be right there for you guys. So you guys can check out my predictions for Nintendo, but obviously Nintendo's the big show here. I mean, that's what everyone is going to have their eyes on. I think Xbox and Nintendo are both going to be the big shows, because that's the first party developers, right? So you want to see what's going on. I think Microsoft with Bethesda, they have a lot to prove in terms of first party development and what they're going to get going. Obviously, people are going to want to see Halo there. So I will be streaming that one on Sunday, June 13th, 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. ET. I will be streaming that. And of course, Nintendo's show, I will be streaming that 1000%. We're going to go live a couple hours early, maybe even up to 3 hours early when it comes to Nintendo Direct / Treehouse. It's going to be a fun day of streaming. I am going to be excited and hyped to get things going, so I cannot wait for that on Tuesday, June 15th, man. It's coming up pretty soon here. It's coming up pretty soon. So what do you guys think about all this when it comes to the schedule, the checklist, what's going down? Also, the huge milestone of the Nintendo Switch in Japan. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.